Hello everyone and welcome back to day 2 of our adventure in Barcelona, Spain. And today we go on an amazing food tour where we learn about the culture of Catalonia through their food.
Welcome to Living Phase 2.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Nancy, and we're empty nesters striving to live life to the fullest.
And we are living that full life going all the way around the world for 9 months on the ultimate world cruise.
Well, we sure are. And friends, today we are still in Barcelona. We had an overnight here, which was quite nice. So we get to spend 2 days here. And today we have a secret food tour with Upgrade. It's through Shore Excursions Group. And so we're going to take you on a food adventure.
Yeah, nice thing is we didn't have to get up too early. We didn't have to meet our guide till like 10 o'clock in the morning. So we slept in a little bit because if you didn't see yesterday's video, be sure to go back and catch that. We were touring all day long and didn't get back to the ship till after 10:30 at night. Had amazing tapas and just really, it was an incredible day.
And more good food today.
And we're going to have more good food today. So we got up, but we did get off the ship. We left a little early. We knew it would take about 45 minutes to get to where we had to meet our guide. But one of the things we didn't mention yesterday is if you are on a cruise ship, there is a cruise shuttle that's free that goes back and forth between the cruise ship and the World Trade Center. And that doesn't run 24 hours, but it certainly runs during the main times of the day. So today we took advantage of that shuttle and got a little 20-minute head start at the World Trade Center.
The World Trade Center is close to the Ramblas, which is the pedestrian street there in Barcelona. It starts at the Christopher Columbus Monument and then walks a good distance into Barcelona with lots of shopping. And it's nice because there's no vehicles there, so you can just walk along the streets.
Yeah, the Ramblas is kind of known as the heart of Barcelona.
Yes.
It's the place where you're going to want to go for entertainment and everything. It was amazing last night walking through it, all the people and just the bars and the restaurants. It was really nice. So be sure that this should be kind of one of the centers when you're touring is the Ramblas. By the way, that Christopher Columbus statue, this is one of the places I was at 40 years ago when I was backpacking through Europe. So you can see my picture here from then, and then you can see what we saw today. So it's certainly, if you say the Christopher Columbus Monument, they're going to know where to go. It's a real good place to center yourself as we go. So we started walking up the Ramblas, and we went to?
Well, we went to the Cathedral of Barcelona there. That is just off the Ramblas. And this is where we were going to meet our guide, but we were there a little early, hoping that we could go into the cathedral. Unfortunately, it was closed due to a private event. But but we did get beautiful views from the outside.
Yeah, and in fact, they had a little market going on there with just local vendors. It's almost like a garage sale.
It really was. It was like just random people had things for sale.
Kind of antique things, knickknacks. Sure. It wasn't like a bunch of vendors selling food and things.
Used clothing, things like that.
Yeah.
So it really was like a garage sale.
Yeah, so we wandered around that area for a little bit, but then our guide did show up and we met him, and he started off with a wonderful explanation of the history of Barcelona, of Catalonia, of their interaction between Catalonia and Spain, and there's a lot of tension there we'll talk about a little bit later too. But then we started off to our first destination.
We didn't know. One of the things that he showed us are these plaques that are in front of some of the buildings or some of the businesses. And these plaques identify businesses that have been going for over 100 years. So it was rather interesting to see.
Right. So if you see those, you'll know you're going into a historic business that's been around for a long time. The first place that our guide took us to was La Comina. Now this, you talk about over 100 years. This one's been well over 100 years serving Barcelona. And they're actually known for their candies. But keep this in the back of your mind because at the end of the video, we're going to have a little flashback here to La Comina with a surprise that our guide gave us. But what did we actually sample here?
We had a donut called a chucho, which is a custard-filled donut, and it was quite good.
Oh,
it was yummy.
It reminded me a little bit of a Berliner or a Boston cream donut or something like that. But they were absolutely excellent. Cooked to perfection. The cream inside was really good. Not overly sweet. Just right.
Good way to start our tour.
It was really good. He hit a home run on the first one, and that kind of led us to, okay, it looks like we're going to have some really good food here.
Right.
Well, after we had our chucho, where did we go next?
We were walking the streets now to our next destination, which is the Market of St. Catherine. And in here, we got to sample some nice meats and cheeses. We took a little tour through the market, which is well over 100 years old. And where we stopped was Anai Ramon La Caterina for our meats and cheese cones. And in this market, too, it's been remodeled. And as they've done remodeling, they discovered ruins and under the market. So they had blocked off part of the market. It kind of halts construction when they find these ruins, and they're excavating the ruins, and they were currently excavating right while we were there.
Yeah, there's even a lady cleaning and vacuuming the ruins in there. I think what's interesting, if you see the video here of the market, it looks very modern and brand new. But that's because these markets are so key and so core to the culture and the people of Barcelona. Every neighborhood has their own market, and this is the neighborhood for this market. Everybody knows everybody. It's, they'll come in and, this is where the local gossip is given. It's, everything is centered around the market. And that's why the city of Barcelona makes sure these markets are modernized, they're clean, they look good. So even though this looks like a brand new market, as Nancy said, it's over 100 years old. Well, our guide went in, picked up some wonderful Spanish ham and those cheeses. And this is where we had a real education on Spanish ham.
We did.
So let's tell you a little bit about what we learned, so maybe you can take this away and then learn when you go to buy your Spanish ham. So what's the first type of Spanish ham?
Right, is Serrano. That's your lighter ham. That is your least expensive ham. And so that was the first one that we were trying.
Right. In fact, you can buy a whole Serrano ham leg at Costco, and it's pretty expensive, but Serrano ham's what you're going to find in the grocery store, right? And here's the important part: it comes from a white skin pig, a normal pig, just like we have at most farms. It's kind of the normal meat.
The next level of ham is called Iberico, and Iberico actually has 3 different levels in and of itself.
That's right. It has Cibo, Campo, and Balada, and it goes from the least expensive to the most. So a Cibo, you maybe are going to pay, something in the order of 10 to 25, maybe 30 euros a pound. You get to the next one up, the Campo, now you're going to be paying 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 euros a pound. And you get to Balada ham, and you may be paying hundreds of euros per kilo, per pound. And the differences are, so the Cibo ham is it's still the black pig. So that's the biggest difference we need to talk about. When you're talking about Iberian ham, it's a black skinned pig. And by the way, if you go back to our videos on South Korea, the black pig, they call them black pigs, black pork, is very popular there. Also in Japan, it's a much more flavorful ham. It's not the ones that are overbred here in the US, the standard white pigs. And you'll see some videos back there. So go check out some of our videos back from South Korea, and we have some amazing black pork dishes there. But the Cibo is fed just standard grain. It's just fed normal pig food and nothing really special there. The Campo, when you get up to that, now they feed it normal grains, but then in the last 4 to 6 months before they process the pig, it's then actually fed acorns, which is what traditionally you think of as Iberian ham. Makes it much darker, much richer. But then when you get to the Balado ham...
It's like finishing off, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's like finishing off a cow with the corn at the end of its lifespan. The last 3 to 4 months of its lifespan, it's given the acorns.
Yeah, exactly. But the Balada ham, 100% of its life, free range, only eats acorns. That's why it's so expensive. They're very much more rare, much more expensive to grow these pigs, to farm them. So those are the 3 different levels. Now we had the Campo, we had the middle one, because as our guide said, he goes, well, the tour would have to cost a lot more if he was going to go get it. But the important thing is when you get a good Iberian ham, this is not something you go make a 4-pound ham sandwich out of. This is something you savor. You have it on a charcuterie, have bites of it, really savor it. This isn't something you just eat. And so a few ounces of it, 100 grams, something like that, may be plenty to really enjoy that flavor, savor it with a good glass of Spanish wine.
And it really was good. I could certainly tell a difference between that and the Serrano ham that we had initially, and it was better. It really was.
Yeah, you could see on that picture that we have, the Serrano ham is very light colored, and you can see that the Iberico ham was much darker. And by the way, the meat in the middle was a chorizo sausage that we also tried. And that was really good too. It wasn't like we think of as a Mexican chorizo, which is more, like a ground sausage. This was a chorizo that's more of a kind of an aged sausage that you would eat, kind of almost like a pepperoni or a salami.
Right. It's a drier sausage.
Right. So then along with our sausage, we had cheese, which was very good. Local cheese.
Cone of cheese, similar to what we had the other day at Montserrat.
Yes, it was. Absolutely excellent. And those two things just went really well together. You can really see that the quality and how much effort and love they put into all these meats and cheeses, it was very good.
Well, when we left the market, we walked through the streets, we walked through some of the neighborhoods. One of the neighborhoods we went to was the Bourne neighborhood. This neighborhood is very famous for, it has a lot of great places to eat. It has a good nightlife, and all these neighborhoods are kind of self-sufficient. They all have their own market, they're kind of their own infrastructure, and so people in these neighborhoods just kind of stay in their own neighborhood. They don't necessarily venture out a whole lot.
Right. They'll even have their own slang, almost their own dialect within these different neighborhoods. So you got, you can hear about people say go to Bourne. Well, that's the neighborhood, like to go out to eat or something. Yeah. Well, one of the places we did stop was the monument to the Catalonian rebellion against Spain, the war against Spain for Catalonian independence. And that was very moving. He told a lot of the stories of what happened there, betrayal and everything. It was very interesting. You can really tell the people of Catalonia, they're a little bit like Bavarians in Germany or Texans in the U.S. They're kind of, Bavarian first and German second. Very proud of who they are. And there's a lot of talk still of Catalonia becoming independent of Spain, but you can really see that from this monument and the history that they've had there. So that was a good stop, a little bit of history along the way, and you can certainly tell that our guide was very proud of being a Barcelona Catalonian citizen and what he brought to that. Well, we left the Catalonian monument to go to our next food stop. And now this one is the personal tapas place of our guide. He lives right down the street. This is where he loves to go. It's where he loves to go to watch football matches. And this is Bar Jacai. And so Bar Jacai is very, very famous, been open over 100 years. In fact, it's so popular they had to open a second location for weekends. And fortunately, when we went in, we had a reserved table. He had it all set up for our tour because he always takes his tour groups here, and had some absolutely amazing food. We had good tapas last night, and if you remember the one that we talked about that was near the Sagrada de Familia, we said, the tapas were just okay. This is how tapas should have been.
This is where the locals eat.
So it was good. Just absolutely good.
And we really had a full meal here. So we had eggplant with agave syrup. We had some roasted mushrooms. We had arancini, which is rice with a meat inside. It's something similar that we had in Sicily.
Oh yeah, and those were really good in Sicily. These were even better. I thought these were just absolutely really fantastic. The arancini, yeah. We
had roasted octopus, and this is where we had vermouth. You got to try vermouth straight or over ice.
Right. Well, so this was interesting. So when you think of Spain, you think of sangria, right? It's kind of, they go together. When in reality, what we found out is the locals don't really drink that much sangria. If they're going to sit down and watch a football game or have a drink, they're actually going to drink vermouth on ice. And that's very common here. Local vermouth that's done up. And we tried it, and you tried it. It was actually very good. I always think it was just something you put a little bit into a martini, but the local vermouth, so not just a Gallo that you buy, a cheap vermouth, but if you get a really good vermouth, put it on ice, put a little lemon slice in it, or maybe even an olive. It was excellent. I enjoyed that a lot. We also got to try the cava.
Right. This is where we had the upgrade. And so the upgrade was the additional drink of the cava, which is a sparkling wine. And, well, unfortunately, I'm not too much of a sparkling wine girl. That's champagne. Some of that is not necessarily my favorite. So for me, it was just okay. But I think some people really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for cava, it was really good. I'm kind of the same way. I like a really good champagne. This cava was very good, especially if you're going to, if you like those types of things. But like you said, both of us are not huge into champagne. So, maybe it was lost on us a little bit. But overall, it was really good. I think to sum it all up here for Barjacay, it's a don't miss. If you want tapas in Barcelona, this is really the place to go.
Yes.
Don't miss it. The crowds can get busy, so go early, especially if you're in the evenings. But it was absolutely fantastic. And by the way, all the places that we're stopping at, there's links in the description. So feel free to go down the description. There's a Google link down there. It'll take you right there and find it, right? And plus some more information on them.
Once we left there, we went to another tapas place called Pasa Tapas. And here we had paella that was absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, and we also had dessert. We had a crema catalana, which is sort of a version of creme brulee. It had citrus, it had cinnamon, and it was very light, and it was quite good.
Yeah, I love a good creme brulee, and this was lighter, and you didn't feel as heavy. Thought that was really good. And by the way, this place, you can see from the name, is actually also known to have really, really good tapas. But since we had just hit the other tapas place, they're also known for their paella. And as many people know, if you're going to order paella, it can be a long wait. So just be prepared for that, because they did make it from scratch. They made it fresh. They had it ready for us when we got there because of the food tour. They had informed them when we were going to show up. That was really good.
Rice and seafood, kind of tomato based, and yeah, it was
probably
delicious.
the best paella I've ever had. It was
good.
really good. It was really good.
So following that, then we were on the street. He was getting ready to say goodbye to us, but he says, I have one more surprise for you. And this is where we reflect back to that initial pastry and candy shop. He had bought candy for all of us, and some very unusual flavors that we got to try, like a lavender and different
mango and
flavors of candy, coffee and cinnamon, and but it was good too.
Yeah, so he handed all a couple pieces of candy, and then we said our goodbyes. Absolutely fantastic tour. I enjoyed this thoroughly. Unfortunately, we can't do much more because our ship is leaving around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so we had to leave from there. The nice thing was this tour, the circle that it made from the cathedral, actually, we were only a block or so away from the World Trade Center again, so we just had to walk back to the World Trade Center. Nice little stroll along the boardwalk there, going back, caught the shuttle and got back to the ship. Nancy, so Barcelona, what's your thoughts? Would you come back? How'd you enjoy it?
I loved it. I had a great time here in Barcelona. I thought it was beautiful. I thought there's so much to see and do. I'd be very happy to come back here again.
Yeah, me as well. Reflecting back to what we said in yesterday's video, it has been almost 40 years since I've been here when I was backpacking when I was 18 years old. And this is a completely different city. We talked to our guides, we talked to some locals about the transformation over the last 30 to 40 years, and it is absolutely stunning. And they themselves had fully admitted that Barcelona wasn't that great a city back in the 70s and 80s. It was pretty rough, and it's completely transformed, and it is one of the best cities that we have explored here on the Ultimate World Cruise.
And do you know, this gave me a lot of pause for thought here. It was so nice to hear you say how much it had improved over the 40 years. It gave me a lot of hope. And I think back to some of the African countries that we went to, and some of the places, Luanda, that we struggled with. And I think, well, you know what? If Barcelona can do it, and to see the wonderful improvement that they've had from the crime and the various places, other places can do that too. So it really gave me a lot of hope.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, and that's what traveling the world is all about, right? Learning about culture, seeing these wonderful things, and seeing what we can learn to improve our lives and the lives around the world too.
Oh, absolutely.
So, well, tomorrow, where are we headed?
Well, we're headed to Valencia, Spain, and we have a tour, another great tour there.
That's right. So we're going to go into the future. That's right. So we're going to go to a site that I'm sure, if you've watched TV and movies that you've seen, such places as the Westworld, Star Trek, Star Wars. I mean, many of these places have filmed at this location, and others that we're going to show you tomorrow. So don't miss it. I didn't know this when we went there, and I think it's pretty cool. So I think you're going to want to see it.
All right, friends, thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for subscribing, and we'll see you very soon. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.